All right, I would like to officially call to order the Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025 meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission. And pursuant to the amendment of Bill H3548 and Governor Healy's signing such amendment into law in March of 2023, expressing certain provisions of the open meeting law, this meeting of the Town of Bolton Conservation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but the public can access this meeting while in progress by Zoom Video Communications, Inc. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment by telephone, cell phone, or personal computer using Zoom. As always, some guidelines for participants. Please utilize the chat or raise hand function if you wish to address the board. Participants will remain on mute until they have been addressed by the board, and participants are required to display their first and last names. All that said, by tradition, we'll start with a roll call vote. Roll call of present members. I am Brian Barabee.
Sue Mitra.
I was gonna say, I got Sue, Paul
Jim
Brandwald,
Jim Garrity.
Sam Bosley.
That's it. Perfect. All right. First up this evening, the Bolton Conservation Commission will now continue the public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, to discuss the notice of intent filed for 75 Hudson Road. Quick update on this one: there was a site visit scheduled. A number of members of the commission managed to get out there this past week and take a look at what they were proposing. They are still waiting for a DEP file number, so we're still waiting for DEP comments, and they're also still waiting to hear back from Natural Heritage. So they've asked to continue it until our next meeting for that specific reason, and I see no reason why not to. Any reason why anyone would see why we wouldn't continue this meeting at this point? All right, so I'd like to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for 75 Hudson Road until our next public meeting, Tuesday, September 16th at 7:10 p.m. Do I hear a second for continuing?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Sue.
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Thank you.
And thus concludes all of our scheduled hearings. Next up this evening, though, we did schedule a discussion with Matt Morrow. Lauren, is Matt here? He is. And
Yes,
so,
he's here with us tonight.
Could you unmute him and let him in?
Sure.
Well, I see he is in, but
Hi, guys.
hey, Matt, could you? I know you wanted to talk to us about a possible submitting a possible NOI. Do you want to walk us through that real quick, or what you're asking tonight? Or
Yeah, I'll make this real quick. I see you guys have a light agenda. It's the day after Labor Day. So if I could be permitted to share my screen, that would be great.
Please, yes.
Yep, you should be able to, Matt.
Beautiful. Okay, so what we have here is we have 30 North Road. We have a wall that was being constructed here, and then there was vegetation that was stripped around the pond here. Based on what I could gather, there was a wooden retaining wall here, and there was some old boulders and riprap going along here. Some of this is original, some of this was replaced. This part is new. They basically replaced the timber wall that was here with stone. Let's see if I can get other angles on it. You can see the front right here taken back the early part of the summer. It's another angle of the pond here. So I am going to get out of that screen and I'm going to go into, hopefully you guys will be able to see this. Do you see the Street View Google that I have up?
Yes.
Okay. So what you can see, this is prior to my clients buying the property. This wall here is actually already existing. What he's doing is he's, shoring up the bottom stones and then apparently adding height to this wall. It's not being expanded and it's not being made any wider. It's just being added on top of, but there is work that's gone on to replace some of the rock here. And if you see in here, prior to the vegetation being cleaned out, which from what I can see on these photos, most of it's like just, there is some cinnamon fern and sensitive fern, but most of it's like goldenrod and speckled alder, which is an aggressive wetland veg that tends to pop up on pond edges and detention basins. And then there was some cattails, and it looked like you had some reeds. And then over on the opposite side here, there is a bunch of Japanese knotweed that starts rearing its ugly head, which I know we all just look forward to seeing. So I just wanted to show you what the pre-existing condition was prior to this. So it wasn't, I mean, this pond apparently, I had asked Lauren, because I was looking through the history on this file and I saw items that indicated there may have been previous files on here. So I asked Lauren if she could send me some file history on it, which she was nice enough to look into and send to me, which I do appreciate very much. So I'm going to pull some of that up now. Can you see this letter here from the commission
Yes.
back in the day? This is back in 1982.
Oh gosh.
So the pond, basically, there was like a pond that was there, a watering hole. There were culverts connecting wetland to wetland. And apparently it was altered several times throughout history. Subsequent to that letter, there was a notice of intent filed back in June of 1980, which had construction specifications to excavate this pond out. And I'd like to go down to, like, here, for example, was a schematic. There was a gravel ramp that was constructed, which is now loamed and seeded, that was supposed to be leading here to the edge of the pond. This would be street view. This would be house view here. And if you go back up, you can see that the pond basically was cleaned out. It was the NOI called for it to be dredged. There were culverts. The culverts are still there. They're still maintained. I did check up on them. They're flowing adequately. There's been no silt going into the wetland downstream. I did, trudge through and check out those wetlands over there. There was subsequent filings that were done again. This one was in, I want to say this one was in like the early 90s. Let me take a look at the date here. Nope, this one was 89. This is prior to 90. So we've had a lot of activity on this pond, and we of course know what the pond looks like currently. Filing an NOI for this wall here, this wall I don't think is an issue because it's I think I've shown that this is a pre-existing structure. In fact, here's the pre-existing wall here. If you look at the aerials, it's hard to make out, but in some of the aerials, like in 2019, etc., you can see the walls here. But what grew around here, the orders of conditions that were on that called for like high bush blueberry plantings, high bush cranberry plantings. It called for a lot of the standard plantings that we recommend today. From the looks of what I saw from the pre-existing photos, either that was never done, or it was and it was never maintained. So what I'd like to do, I mean, having him remove this area right here, he'd be removing one wall for another. He can stabilize this area here, which is growing in now as we speak. The areas where there was loam is grown in. So I'd like to file an NOI for doing wetlands plantings on both sides and the front of this pond, as well as the wall. I just wanted to know if you guys were okay with that. This guy's on a limited budget, so I would be doing it based on photographs and a narrative, just to try to get this thing out of the way. And I wanted to make sure you guys were comfortable with that.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking in advance. I totally get that. I think so, Matt. Like, I'd have to see what got submitted. I mean, it looks like I'm familiar. I've driven by the property before, so I knew that pond was always there. It always seems weird. I mean, it looks like with what they altered, it was basically just the clearing that was altered. So in theory, to me, a replanting schedule, setting up how you're going to replant or renaturalize that area. I would think that would be sufficient for how you're going to make up for, the violation that occurred. I tend to agree with you on the wall where while it might be jurisdictional, if it's going in the same footprint, it kind of falls under the repair of an existing structure. I guess those are my initial thoughts, just looking at it. But let me open it up to commission members. Any members of the commission have any initial thoughts, comments, or questions regarding what Matt just kind of walked us through?
I had a question about, so when did the rest of the stone around the pond go in? Do we know?
As far as this stuff over here in the front, I think that went in this year. It looks like he took some old stones out and replaced it with new. It looked like, and I mean, you can look through the original files. It looked like the original NOIs that were filed. There's inlet and outlet here, and there is on the corner of the screen up top, or should I say in the bottom, where my arrow is kind of shaking, there's another inlet there. And it looks like there was supposed to be riprap on both sides, extending at a minimum of 5 feet out from each side. So there was stone there to begin with. I don't know if it went all around originally. Some of these stones are big. It doesn't look like he would have been able to place them in there. Most of this is handwork. So it looks like they've been in there for quite a while. And I'm speculating that while some of the work is his, a lot of it was also done outside the scope of what you guys had originally approved back in the mid to late 80s. And, you know, back then, sometimes follow-up was hard because there was so much going on with the building booms, you know?
Other comments, questions from individuals?
Yeah, I guess I have a question, quick question. So the stone wall closest to the house, if you will, right? So if my recollection is correct, reading the original or the 1989 NOI, it said it looked like the intent was to originally put in stone, and then there was an amendment which said now put in timber, right? So that's what was there. That's the timber. So the NOI has to also include that stone wall, right? The removal of that timber and including now a stone wall.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Just plantings, right?
That's fine. And it's more than fair. I mean, here's the picture from 23 of the timber wall. I mean, it's hard to get a close-up on it, but from the looks of what I see in my experiences with timber retaining walls, it looks like it was pressure treated or was replaced with pressure treated timbers. This area here was starting to lean in. So he replaced pressure treated with stone, which when I do wall replacements, I always recommend field stone anyway, because it makes a better habitat than a timber wall. But yeah, I have no problem adding that into the mix.
Yeah, and also, you know, if you go back, Matt, to the as built right now, right? I have a hard time believing that all that stone going all the way around was there originally. I just have a hard time believing it. Just looking at the first picture that you had, right? So it seems like he put a lot more stone going all the way around it than what was there in the originally. But Brian, I think I would appreciate a site visit just to kind of take a look at it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think a site visit where we could at least put our heads together and take a look at it and come up, like I said, this guy did any work he's done out here, he's done with his own hands. It's not like he's got gobs of money to spend doing work out here. So it's like, well, I mean, I guess the most diplomatic way I could put it was that he is not originally from this country. So it was a kind of a cultural thing where they would start doing ornamental work around ponds and rip out the vegetation. And he knows not to do that now. And I've talked to him about the Wetland Protection Act, et cetera. So it's been a teachable moment for him, but I want to make sure that it's also made right. And I mean, he does too.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Right. Other questions, comments, initial? Not seeing any. So Matt, normally I'd say like, yeah, let's see if we can't do a site visit. The one thing, and I'm not sure, and Lauren, maybe you can look this up for us at some point, is I'm not sure if there has to be a filing before we go out for a site visit. I don't know if that's the case or if we can go out ahead of time, because
I
I'm
don't-
more than happy to go out whenever, whether it's been filed or not, and just to
I
take a
don't
look.
believe there's an issue with the commission going out ahead of time prior to a filing, but I can just double check on that. I want to say we have done that in the past, but I can double check on that just to confirm.
What was I say? Was there an enforcement order on this or something along those lines? That I would think we could.
I believe there was a
yeah,
violation.
Rebecca
Right.
issued a notice of non-compliance.
Mm.
Okay, I'm wondering if that's significant enough for us to say, oh, yeah, we're doing a site visit on that to see where it stands and how bad or good it is. But yeah, I am more than happy to try to get out there before you file something, Matt, to try to give you an idea on the scope or what we're seeing or what we're thinking. And this would also give me a chance to read through some of those old NOIs that you had submitted.
Yeah, the history on this pond is very unique.
I was always driving by. I was always curious about it and how it came into being or why. But
It was originally referred to in the first filing as a watering hole.
Yeah.
And that's the current shape it's in now. Is the shape it's been since the 80s. And it was to expand the watering hole, and then somebody filled in like a portion of the bank and tried to shrink it back down, and you guys made them basically restore it. It's had a very unique history.
Interesting. And continuing on today. Okay. So I mean, I think unless I hear from others, I think that might be the best way to proceed, is us to try to get out there and take a look. Appreciate you coming in, kind of giving a little bit of the history, showing where it stands now. And I'm hoping that will allow us to give you an idea of what we might want to see in an NOI. Again, it's always difficult because we can't say, well, do this, do that, don't do this. It kind of has to be submitted and we respond to it. But at least if we go out there, we can tell you what our concerns are ahead of time or what we're seeing or thinking.
That would be a tremendous help. I mean, it seems to be a pattern in the last year and a half that there's a lot of restoration plans that I've been writing up. But this situation is kind of making me scratch my head on its approach.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Because of the history. So I'd really appreciate the input.
Okay. All right. We will try to get that scheduled hopefully before our next meeting.
All right. And I appreciate that. Thank you very much, guys.
No problem. Nice talking to you, Matt. You have a good night.
All right. Thanks. You too.
All right. So for the commission members, I have no other enforcement order updates or updates on any of our ongoing projects. Nothing significant, at least. We do have the minutes from our August 19th meeting. Were in your packet. If commission members had a chance to read the minutes, any edits, corrections, changes? If not, do any commission members need more time to read through those minutes? Seeing none. Going to make a motion that we approve the minutes for our August 19th, 2025 meeting as drafted and submitted at this evening's meeting. Do I hear a second for minutes approval?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Sue.
Aye.
Paul,
Abstain.
Jim,
Aye.
Sam,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Okay, thank you.
I was to say we have not to I should say our volunteer land steward position is still available, and we still do have one available position on the commission for any members of town that are interested. I don't believe we have anything else on this evening's agenda. Lauren, is there anything I have missed?
No, it was a very light agenda tonight.
No, again, not our record was 13 minutes, so we've almost doubled that tonight. So not a record-breaking meeting, sadly. All right, do any commission members have any new business, anything they would like to see added to the agenda for next time, anything they just want to talk about and feel better? Good. All right. In that case, I would like to make a motion that we hereby adjourn the Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025 meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission. Do I hear a second for adjourning?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Sue.
Aye.
Paul.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Sam,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an I as well.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for the hard work this evening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, if not before.
Cool.
Have a good
Take
night.
care.
Night,
Okay.
night.